Okay, I record it again, and this one here is the next thing that we need to do is to decide the marketing mix variables, right? So you construct marketing mix variables, okay? And as mentioned before, please show the link between your positioning strategy and your marketing mix variables, okay? And then you detail each marketing mix variable using the concepts, okay? So product, for instance, please use the 3 levels of product concept. Okay, and then in terms of price, you discuss the main pricing strategy. Either there are 2 options in here. If pretty much you are analyzing a new product, roughly, because you're launching new product. So pretty much you are analyzing this one new product pricing strategy. Okay, so there are only 2 options in here: price skimming or price penetration. Okay. Yes, Lee.
Hi, Eddie. If part of our background analysis for the company suggested that we may not be offering new products and that we may have just been in one location but have a plan, can we still go off the general pricing strategies?
Yep, that's fine. Yes, it is.
Okay. Right. And just a question in relation to that. I like to start with the customer value and thinking about, okay, what do these people need? What value are we actually going to transfer if they acquire our products? So we're looking at either customer value strategy or a competition-based pricing strategy. But I'm finding it difficult to quantify what value, how to price based on customer value for chocolate in a new market without looking at the current competition products and their price.
Yep.
So I'm finding that looking at a maybe a superior pricing strategy based on competition pricing, but so which one would you, in that instance, you choose a competition-based pricing?
Well, not really. You can still look these 3 options basically still need to consider the competition base, actually. Okay, because if you remember when we discuss pricing decision, we also mentioned that number of things that marketers need to look at in terms of making decision on price. Okay, the price floor, price ceiling. Okay, and there are variables that include competition. Okay, and that is actually the reason why in your assessment one I asked you to look at the competitors and marketing mix variables. Okay, so you still to answer to your question, if the intention is to look at the most valuable, to refer to the customer's perception on the value of your product, how much would they think it is worth for, then you're using value-based pricing strategy. The competition in there is your reference. Okay, the competitive prices are just your reference. Okay, and I think the other question that you have is actually what about justification of the certain dollars to as to the value. Okay, I'll leave it to you in terms of what you're offering for the customers in real life, as discussed in pricing decision. You do need research. You do in your product test research. You normally explain the concept. Right, we are going to introduce Donald B. He's going to introduce this new product concept, this new chocolate product that includes this, and this, yummy, and so on and so forth, contain 80% cocoa, whatever it is, okay? And it will be packaged using this and that, right, to show the premiumness, in quote, unquote, right? And it will be retailed in here, let's say, in our specific outlet, our specialty store. And the price would be, let's say, $10, for instance, for whatever that is, okay? So in real life, you do that kind of research. Okay. Now, I understand that we don't have the luxury of doing that in here. But what you can do is to justify if it is value, right, value based, and you aim at premium positioning. Okay, and you need to look at the other brands that is perceived as being valuable or being premium. Then you need to to address that. Okay, if these guys offer features A, B, C, D, then you need to explain it in your justification. You need to explain A, B, C, D, E, for instance. Okay.
Okay, no, that's great. That's along the lines of what I've what I've done, but just to make sure I've understood it completely, using your example there about sustainably sourced ingredients or 80 or % cocoa, whatever it is. Let's just say we said, okay, we've got 100% sustainably sourced ingredients. We then look at direct competitors offering that are in the premium chocolate market. And we might look at what their offering is, and let's just say they're only sourcing 70% sustainably sourced ingredients. So we might think, okay, in the eyes of the consumer, the customer will view that our products are superior value because it better meets their need for social responsible consumption. So we could add a little bit onto the price.
Right. Okay.
That type of thing. Okay.
Fair enough. If you can justify whether the sustainability is a big issue in there in relation to the customer's need, that will be fantastic. Look, you have your insights, and some people may also argue that some other brands in Australia have been positioned to be, environmental friendly. Unilever launched a shampoo brand a few years ago, back in 2013. I think the brand name is Organic Shampoo, and I can't find it anymore in the market, basically. And P&G did the same thing in Asia Pacific region, and a number of brands have attempted that. And look, I'll leave it to your judgment, right? I'm not going to.
That's okay. It's just an example of a characteristic of your product.
Yeah. Okay. Right, now look, and then please also decide your product mix pricing strategy. All right, so there are 3 strategy concepts that you need to analyze in here: general pricing strategy or new product pricing strategy. The next one is product mix pricing strategy. Either you adopt product line pricing strategy because you offer a number of items, okay, like a pack size or flavor, milk, chocolate, dark chocolate, white chocolate, and so on and so forth. So that requires you to design your product mix pricing strategy, product line. Okay, and then price adjustment strategy, whether you are going to adopt, whether you're going to adopt the special price and certain occasion and so on and so forth. Okay. Now, in anything that you analyze in there, please make sure that you specify your pricing strategy. At least you determine the price range from here to here. Let's say for my premium one, for 20-gram packs, I'm going to charge $8 to $9, for instance. I'm just giving you an illustration. Okay. And placement, you decide 2 things: distribution coverage strategy and marketing channel strategy. Okay, and I think we discussed that some time ago as well. And then your promotion, you decide the 5 promotional tools. Okay, look, if you need to explain the extended marketing mix variables, there are a bit of reference in here, and I believe we discussed that some time ago as well. For people, process, and physical evidence, people is basically about the staff involved in the service delivery. Process includes the system or the procedure to deliver the service for customers, and physical evidence are basically about the cues to deliver the. If you look at Apple, for instance, the physical evidence, the store is basically the physical evidence. The logo, the Apple logo on the store is another physical evidence that symbolizes they are quite strong in terms of service delivery. Okay, and then your conclusion, recommendation, and lastly, if you have appendices, then your appendix. Okay. Oh, sorry, references. I apologize. Okay, you have the references in here. Right. Your reference list. Yeah. Right. So that's basically the assessments. Any more questions, comments, guys? Yeah, Lee.
Okay, just heading back to segmentation, and this is just in relation to the rubric. It said to describe 3 or more segments, and then following description of 3 or more segments, then go on to justify the segment that we chose. So question is, to what extent do we have to describe the multiple segments? Do we just list the various summary of the Roy Morgan value segments, or what would be an appropriate way to do that?
When you describe one target market using Roy Morgan value segments and 4 segmentation variables, you have used several approaches actually in there.
Okay, so it's not talking about describing 3 segments. It's more segment variables. Is that what that means?
Yep, that's what it. Yeah. Okay. That's fine.
Thank you.
Look, as mentioned to you before, in real life, we have this kind of approach, okay, need stage, okay, demographic profile, and so on and so forth, and then you select, okay. But I'm fully aware that we may be challenged in terms of, in terms of word limit. So to me, as long as you explain your target market using 4 segmentation variables and also Roy Morgan value segment, and you show the link and justification, that's good. Yeah. Have I answered your question?
Yes. Thank you very much, Eddie.
No worries. Okay. Any other questions, guys? Yep.
Just want to go a bit over the pricing again. Just if you could just briefly go back on what you said about the pricing strategy, the 3 or 4 parts. In particular, I just want to know with a product mix pricing strategy or the price adjustment strategy, if, and this is hypothetical, if I was to have a product which was pretty consistent across all variations, there wasn't much of a difference between one product to another, would I need to actually go ahead and have a price adjustment strategy or a product mix strategy? Would that be necessary in that case?
Sorry, your voice was a bit breaking up. Ed, could you please repeat the last couple of sentences? Sorry.
Yeah, I have terrible internet. I live in Melbourne. So I have a product that I'm devising. The product is not very varied. It has a how do you say, a benefit that's very consistent across the entire product range.
Yep.
This will result in the price not really changing amongst how you buy the product. So I'm just wondering, would a price adjustment strategy be necessary in this case?
Price, I think your question is probably more related to product mix pricing strategy, because you're offering similar products except different flavor, whatever, but the same benefits. Okay, well, if that's the case, that you could explain, all of these products would be retail at that much in terms of product line pricing strategy. Okay,
so that would be
price adjustment strategy is
so rather than having a product mix pricing strategy, it would just be just a standard price range, I guess you could say. Yep,
exactly. So that is the reason why there are several product mix pricing strategy that we can consider. One of them is product line. I mentioned this a few times, product line pricing strategy, right? This actually reflects you have several product, items. Okay, let's say you have dark chocolate, vanilla, milk chocolate, almonds, and so on and so forth, but they are going to be at the same price because you believe they'll deliver the same benefit from you focus on emotional benefit. Then you could say that you adopt a product line pricing strategy, and this is your price. Let's say $2.20, whatever it is. Okay. Would you not introduce different pack sizes though? Especially if you introduce different pack sizes, then you could also explain it. Let's say you have 50-gram packs, 100-gram packs, and so on and so forth. That also requires you to have the product line pricing strategy. Now, that is product mix pricing strategy. Okay. In terms of your price adjustment strategy, that could be your discount and allowance for customers. That could also be promotional price in certain occasion. Okay. And that could also be your price adjustment strategy for those who are not in the same region, right? So you're using geographical pricing strategy as well, okay, as part of your price adjustment strategy. Okay, so let's say Donald B's manufacturing facility is based in Melbourne. You need to consider shipment to Perth, for instance. Then if you consider that, when you think about that, you actually think about price adjustment strategy. Yeah, have I answered the question, Ed?
Yeah, good. Thank you.
Right, cool. All right, guys, any more questions? Yep, Lydia?
Eddie?
Yep.
Yep, sorry, in regards to the pricing strategy, Should we take into consideration the cost of making the product? Like the ingredients.
All right. I'll answer that in
two ways. Into it?
I will answer that in 2 ways, Lydia. In real life, you do. Okay, but this is assessments, and especially it is a fictitious company. If I ask you to do it, you will just put assume numbers. Like costs will be 60%. So if you charge $5, the cost will be $3. Well, I think it is it is not meaningful. Okay, so to simplify my answer, now you don't have to do it. In real life, okay. Yes, you analyze that.
That's good news.
That is actually a good question. Marketers need to ensure that their price exceeds the costs, right? And I think I mentioned this briefly last time. In real life, after you write your marketing mix variables, you also write your financial projection. That's where you detail your price analysis and your cost analysis. Okay, but if you look at the rubric, I don't think they mention financial projection. Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Okay. Right. Have I answered your question?
Oh, yes.
Okay,
brilliant. Cool. Right. Any more questions, guys?
Just the last one, sorry, regarding promotion.
Mm-hmm.
So we do not need to go into the detail of the 5 tools. I mean, I understood that we have to mention them, but we don't need to go. I mean, it may happen that we don't do personal selling.
You don't have to what? To do what?
To use the 5 tools. Can we use just 1 or 2?
I would recommend. Okay, that's actually an interesting question. Okay. If you use only 1 tool, definitely it's not enough, because in real life, you need to, in real life, consumers have different behavior, right? So you need to reach them in a different way, okay? Yeah. What about 2 tools? Well, probably between yes and no, okay? Put it this way, okay? There are 5 tools in here that we discussed, right? You discuss them. What specific tools that you need to use? Okay, I just put down here, right? Specific tools, specific promotional tools. Okay, if it is advertising, what advertising that you use? Is that TV or whatever it is, right? And then you explain specific activities for each tool. Okay, if you say that you're not going to use certain tool, then you explain it. Okay, so use it or not, please explain them. And if you are not using it, you explain why you're not using it. Okay.
Okay, fantastic.
Yep. And in your appendix, you can also put the your own promotional calendar. Okay, if you have the energy. Okay. So let's say this is your calendar throughout the year. Okay. Month 1, 2, 3, and so on and so forth. This is your TV advertising, and so on and so forth. Your sales promotion, and so on and so forth. Okay, so kind of promotional calendar. Okay. Yes, Lee.
I'm happy to wait. Actually, Eddie, I put my hand up after Ed, I believe.
Sorry about that. I didn't see that, mate. Sorry. Yeah. How can I? Any question, Lee? Sorry, I did not mean to ignore you.
Oh, yeah, no, it might have. Sorry, the hand might have still been up from before. That's all good. So, just in relation to the positioning map,
yep.
Obviously, the chocolate/confectionery industry in Australia has a lot of different brands,
yes.
Hundreds. So, outside of the direct competitors that we would have had a look at in our market analysis to begin with, how many additional brands would be an appropriate amount to analyze, given the constraints of the assignment?
Look, I'll leave it to you to decide. Okay, at minimum, you put the direct competitors, the major competitors. Okay, I would appreciate that if you can also think about at least the major brands in the market. Okay, I'll leave it to you. Okay, because look, I do not want to put more constraints in it. Okay, to me, the main point is when it comes to positioning strategy, the main point is you explain your positioning map clearly, you justify it, and you explain your positioning statement clearly, you justify it, and you justify it through your point of differentiation, and it is unique in the market, and you can show that it is unique in the market, right? No other major brands capture that. Okay, or if you find some other another major brand captures that position already, you can excel that the delivery of that that attributes.
Yeah, great. Okay, so that's good. In terms of that, you mentioned brands, so I'm assuming that if we're going to analyse a wider spectrum of the market, including a lot of the supermarket brands, assuming that that's not part of our strategy to go into a supermarket, but just looking at the broader chocolate or confectionery industry, look at brands rather than say the owners like Mondelez or Mars or Lindt. Just look at the actual specific brands. Is that right?
Right. Well, yes, you're correct. Okay, and if you can also explain it in your introduction, that helps understanding the scope of your analysis, the scope of marketing plan. And you can also put it back in your appendix in terms of how you define the chocolate brand, chocolate industry.
Okay, so just to clarify, we're looking at the individual brands rather than the parent companies. Yep.
Yep. You're looking at the brands.
Okay.
Because sometimes Mars, for instance, have several brands in the market.
Yes. Yep. Okay. Terrific. Thank you.
No worries. Okay. Right. Any more questions, guys? Mei Lee, how about you? Any questions? Sorry, Lee. You still have more questions, Lee? Oh, okay. Yeah, Mei Lee.
No, I'll just lower my hand. Thanks.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm going to be a real pain about the marketing segment. So I got a bit confused about how you were talking about only needing 2. So you were talking about earlier on about needing to only discuss 2 of the segments.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I had the understanding that we had to cover all 4 areas of the segmentation variables.
All right.
And then we would choose out of those segmentations which one would be our focus. Is that correct?
Okay. You have to describe your target market using these 4. Okay.
Yes, that's right. Yep. So, like in general, like say let's say hypothetically speaking, we're talking about iPads. So we've got a whole range of consumers for geographic, demographic, psychographic, and behavioral. So say, for example, geographic, we were looking at people who would use iPads would probably be in the cities. And demographic, we're looking probably more technical, savvy type age groups and income earners and education. That sort of, whereas, so in this sort of example, would we select, say, geographic and demographic and focus on that, but we still discuss the psychographic and behavioral as well?
Yes, for the first one, no for the second one, because you do not split them. Okay. Now let me just go back to the original concept that we discussed about segmentation approach. Okay. So if we are segmenting Australian consumers into 6 to 8 market segments, let's say we have 6 market segments. Okay. Can't roll. Next one. Hang on a second. I'm losing my pen. Okay. 6 market segments. Okay. And then you use how many? Okay, I got 7. Okay. I need to learn how to count again. Okay. And then you use 4 segmentation variables. Each of them contains 4 segmentation variables. Okay, each of them contains 4 segmentation variables, right? And then after that, after you select, let's say this is segment A, segment B, segment C, and so on and so forth, right? Let's say if you select, okay, segment B, okay, this segment B will contain geographic information, demographic information, psychographic information, and behavioral information. So you will describe your target market using these 4 as well, plus your Roy Morgan value segment. Yeah, have I answered? Is that your question, Meili?
Not quite, because I can see, say, for the segmentations, like they would share similar attributes.
Yep.
And that's the target I want to focus on. For example, I would focus promoting the product more in, say, the city areas, and focus on people in who's have above average education.
Right.
So they these type, like this particular group of people fall into 2 segments.
Mm-hmm.
So
right.
am I supposed to be discussing, like, that's where my marketing strategy will come from?
Right. My understanding from your question is you analyze 4 variables and then you select, let's say, 2 variables of 4 to focus on. 2 variables that you want to focus on in your target market analysis. Do I understand it correctly?
That's right, yes.
All right. And the answer to that, no. The reason for that is the more you know your customers, the better your marketing strategy will be. Right. And the other thing is that I discussed this some time ago, in the first session, that the 4 segmentation variables actually work complementary. They complement one to another. Right. Let's say you use geographic segmentation only and demographic. Okay. Not everybody within that geographic and demographic description that you will outline have the same need. Okay, that's when you also need to look at the psychographic element to help you detailing your segmentation analysis. That's when you also need to look at the behavioral analysis of these guys. All right, so the answer to that is you analyze 4 segmentation variables. Please use 4 segmentation variables. Don't discount it, as mentioned to you before when we discussed the segmentation analysis before Christmas. Use 4, and in fact, I would also encourage you to use a Roy Morgan value segment and show the link between the 2. Okay, between 4 variables and Roy Morgan value segment. Yeah.
Oh, okay, get it now.
Okay. Have I answered your question, Meili?
Yeah.
Okay. Lee, you raised your hand.
Hey, thanks, Eddie. Just in relation to price and demand, when we spoke about the demand shift, do we need to cover that off in the assessment?
In relation to what? Price and demand?
Yeah, so we spoke about, I think you called it ceteris paribus or something like that, the demand shift. And basically we're saying, okay, if we're going to change our price, then we need to be cognizant of the relationship that has with demand. Is that side of it need to be covered off in the assessment?
You use it to help you justifying your pricing strategy.
Okay, so if I understand that correctly, if I've got my pricing strategy in place, and then we're talking about our price adjustment strategy, and we make a recommendation, then we can also say, okay, but we need to be aware of the price demand curve.
Yep.
Okay.
That's good. You raised that issue, and I think I reminded people when we discussed pricing, I discussed the economic variables as well. Okay, that helps us to understand our pricing strategy. Okay, and based on demand, based on the market structure, competitive structure, for instance, and so on and so forth, that helps us to justify. Okay.
Okay,
right.
Great. Thanks, Eddie.
No worries. Any more questions, guys?
No, thank you.
No?
No.
Okay. Look, if you don't have any questions, I off you from the hook. And look, guys, I would like to, sincerely thank everybody for participating in my unit, and hopefully that helps you, broaden your horizon in running business from marketing perspective. Okay, and I look forward to your assessments. And you can still reach me through email. And if you want to show your draft to get feedback from Caroline's funds, tonight is the last day. You can email your draft to get feedback for your academic writing. And if you want to ask questions to me, you still have time until Thursday. Please, if we can, cut off the date on the close of business hour, that's fantastic. Okay. All right.
Great.
Any last call? All good?
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Right.
All good.
Thanks,
Thank
guys.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Right. Bye.
Yes. Bye.